Hello, today I'd like to talk a little bit about one of my favourite 20th century photographers, Brassaï, whose real name was in fact Gyula Halasz. He came from a small town in the Romanian part of Hungary called Brasso, which is how he achieved his name, Brassaï. There's a saying in our business which goes something like this: you don't have to be Hungarian to be a great photographer, but it helps. And if you look at some of the other great 20th century Hungarian photographers such as Kertész, Munkácsy, Moholy-Nagy, and of course Brassaï, I think it's fairly evident that there must have been something in Hungary which encouraged photographers to take up this craft and excel at it. Brasso was also known as the invisible photographer because what is interesting about his work is that much of it was taken at night, on the streets of Paris, in brothels, in bars, in gay clubs, and all sorts of places that the city became famous for in the late 20s and early 30s. The picture we'll look at today is in fact from 1932. It's a very unusual picture. It's called Couple au bal nègre and was taken in one of the clubs in Paris late at night. And flash is being used to make this picture, and almost all Brassaï's pictures inside use a very hard flash, which he was able to sort of diffuse in a very particular way. And one is not strictly aware of the flash, though if you look at the picture, it's quite clear when you see the shadows and how much light invades the dark areas of the pictures that there was some illumination. And if you look at the pictures from within the brothels, on the streets, and he made wonderful pictures of Albert's gang in the streets, they're all shot with this remarkable high intensity flash, which was a type of blue flash bulb. It was usable once. I think the early part of his flash would have probably been magnesium. So quite an interesting setup to take on the road and certainly to be working on your own. And what was wonderful is that, as I say, he seemed to be invisible. There's not that sense of him invading a space. He's absolutely part of it. He was also a fine sculptor. He made wonderful, wonderful sculptures of female forms. He drew extremely well as well. And he printed all his own photographs. And you know by now how particular I am about the process and the printing of photographs. His widow, Gilbert Brassaï, who I met several times, told me that their bathroom was always a dark room. It was very rarely a bathroom. And he obviously enjoyed printing because he printed everything himself, signed everything, and made copious notes on some of the prints, which are fascinating to read. And in fact, the stamps that Brassaï used to credit his photographs are very different. And those stamps indicate when the prints were made and where they came from. So the very earliest stamp, Rue de Clichy, is one of the stamps we look for, and it was obviously one of the first homes that he had, and that rubber stamp was what he would use to make sure that he was credited if a picture was used in one of the papers or magazines. And he was certainly a very popular photographer, not only amongst his peers. In fact, I have a wonderful picture here at the gallery of him, Ansel Adams, sitting outside the V&A with Kertész on a bench. It's a fantastic portrait of the three of them. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this short little discussion about Brassaï, and look forward to seeing you next time. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.